Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so obviously the Heroes hype is still going strong on this channel, still pushing the Heroes agenda. I'm trying my best to keep the hype alive for everybody, as you know, I know a lot of people weren't hyped about the Resurrection of Earth Blues anyway, but with the new banner excitement dying out, obviously we are now left in this quiet period before the next celebration starts. I did tweet out, I think it was yesterday, saying, you know, can it just be the Heroes celebration already? And a lot of people are very excited for it. I did the video yesterday talking about my ideas for the TUR awakenings for the 4 units that we know are awakening. Super Saiyan 4 Gohan and Bardock, and then Corrupted Supreme Kai of Time and Robel. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and check that out. But a lot of people asked me, both in the comments of that video and over on Twitter, both on the video post and the one about the Hero Celebration, asking when exactly the celebration is going to start. And the thing is, we can work it out, we can try and work it out from going by the last couple of years timeline. However, I don't think it's a 100% set in stone at this point. So we're going to have a look through. Now for Global, it's a bit of a weird one for the older years. We only have 2 years experience we can go by, because the last 2 years in a row, with God Trunks as the headliner and Super Saiyan 4 Vegito as the headliner, obviously the Hero Celebration was on both versions at the same time. Before that, the Hero Celebration was not on the same, like both versions at the same time. For anyone who may not know this, Heroes, when it first came out on JP, I think Heroes came out and then came back again on JP before Global actually ever got it for the first time. And back in those days, like around the year 3 to like year 4 of the game, a lot of Global players, myself included, were wondering whether or not we were actually ever going to get to see Dragon Ball Heroes stuff on Global. And there was a lot of talk about whether it was to do with licensing outside of Japan and stuff like that. And then, of course, when World Mission came out, for the PC, the Switch, and obviously was a global release, then they had a campaign to celebrate that release, and this is when Heroes actually first released on global. And as you can see, this is not long after the anniversary, in fact, towards the end of August. So this was the first time we ever got a Hero Celebration. These were the initial units. We got Gohan and Trunks and the Darkness Toa with their awakenings straight away, I think. Actually, no, I don't think they did have them straight away, did they? I can't remember. But the worst thing about this for Global was the fact that the first banner, obviously as with all Heroes banners, they're guaranteed featured per multi. So pulling any of these units that were unfeatured were much more difficult, which was kind of annoying. It was only later on when they came back and some of these units came back and got awakenings. Obviously that's the way the Heroes banner has always worked now. The units that are getting awakenings are featured. Because I remember summoning on this initial banner and really wanting the Xeno Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Even before his awakening, he was pretty good. But I think I did manage to pull all of the units from the banner. I think I ended up rainbowing Sealess in the time it took me to pull like a dupe for, at least one dupe for everybody. And then, interestingly enough, so remember, this is at the end of August, and then we literally had another Hero Celebration midway through January. So this is the only time this has ever happened, but this is how Global was kind of, I guess, catching up to being in line with the same Hero stuff that JP had, is we literally had another Hero Celebration within the next, like, 5 months, which is pretty crazy. And obviously this banner had the release of these characters at the top, and then yeah, the Xeno Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Vegeta, and Supreme Kai of Time got their TUR awakenings. So obviously we can't really go by these previous ones. These are, I thought I'd just show you guys a bit of interesting context to back in the day and how Heroes actually first came to Global. But now let's go ahead and look at the 2 years that we have to go by to try and work out when the Hero Celebration will be. So this is last year's timeline. Now obviously last year they released LR Gogeta, who was JP's Tanabata Dokkan Fest LR, at the beginning of November, which was actually the first time they've released the Tanabata unit in this time slot. So this threw a lot of people off. I know we were expecting to get Super Vegeta around this time, and we got the Gogeta instead. Now, the thing that this sort of led to was obviously like a week later we got some easy A's, This was kind of dead if you weren't summoning for or didn't pull Gogeta, to be perfectly honest. But we got a couple of easy A's, and then a week later we got a couple more easy A's and a Super Battle Road stage. And then we moved into Heroes on the 25th of November. So 25th of November was when we got the Heroes celebration in 2021. Obviously that was the release with God Trunks as the headliner on both versions at the same time. Now the year before that, in November, now this is back then when Golden Week wasn't a both versions at the same time celebration. So the Golden Week units from JP were relegated to this time slot in November, and it was one of those things where that was like an immovable thing. Like, those never came out of order or anything like that. If it was the Golden Week units, they were coming out in November on Global as part of the thank you celebration, which kind of sucked because the units felt very outdated by the time they came out on Global. But then, as you can see here, it was a dual Dokkan Fest, but we got the release of the Dokkan Fest at the beginning of November. The only difference, like, just out by a couple of days is the only difference. Then a week later, we got, again, like, some easy A's, we got a chain battle, and then a few days after that, almost a week, but a few days after that, that's when we got Heroes. So in 2020, we got Heroes on the 19th, whereas in 2021, we got Heroes on the 25th. So that is a whole week difference in comparison to the year before. And I guess it depends, like, it's interesting to try and think why they spaced it out like this, because these 2 weeks between Gogeta releasing, so it's 3 weeks since Gogeta released and then Heroes, nothing else really came out except a bunch of easy A's and, like, yeah, Petan Battle and Super Battle Road. Not exactly a huge amount of content in here to span over 3 weeks. So it's a bit strange that this did have a 3-week gap between the banner and then the Heroes banner. Whereas if we go ahead and look at the year before, in 2020, we had a dual Dokkan Fest, which you could argue is more like summon content anyway, right? Because it's 2 banners. And then we still just had a bunch of filler easy A's. Instead of a Super Battle Road or Petan Battle, we got Explosive Chain Battle. And then Heroes came out, and it was like 2 weeks later. In fact, it was just under 2 weeks, right? So the content, this makes more sense, the 2020 schedule, because there's not as much dead space in between the two. And so it kind of makes more sense, right? You don't need to have a huge gap. The game is always at its worst and most, like, frustrating when you get multiple weeks of, like, nothing to do back to back, and just getting, like, one new stage of Super Battle Road or a chain battle or something like that isn't really enough to, like, tide you over. So obviously this is when Super Saiyan 4 Vegito came out. This is on the 19th of November. So now we are in the position where obviously it is, of course, November 2022, and Global has just gotten the oh yeah, this was just I brought up the November 2019 timeline because, as you can see, no Heroes, and this is when we had the weird sort of schedule that I showed at the beginning. So if we go and look over at the JP schedule, we are obviously in this celebration currently, although there's been some minor changes with some of the units. But this celebration started on the 4th of November for Global. So again, if we go back to the 2021, even though it was where Gogeta released, that's the exact same day. So we could be working from this schedule, but when we look at how much content there is, so we still haven't had any announcement as to whether or not we're going to get the Metal Cooler Core Easy A. We got the King Cold Easy A instead of Mecha Freezer. And then if we skip on to the next part, obviously we got a couple of Easy A's. We know this Easy A is coming out on Friday. I'll be having a team building guide going up for this tomorrow. So that takes us to 1 week removed from the banner. And then JP had a World Tournament, which we are aware that there is going to be a World Tournament sometime soon, because obviously in the news we have the information about the Genius Bulma's Battle Prep, which always comes out before a World Tournament, and it runs after the World Tournament is finished. So judging by the dates of when this is starting, it means that the World Tournament should be starting on Friday the 18th. So I don't know, I can't remember if they have ever done this before, but it seems unlikely that they will drop the Heroes celebration like on the same day that a World Tournament starts. Now, unfortunately, that does mean that the time could be, again, we could be looking more at the 2021 schedule, where we have that extra sort of blank week, because So today is obviously the 9th. We're going to have a new Super Battle Road stage and the Frieza EZA come out on the 11th. And then we have the World Tournament on the 18th. So unfortunately, what that means that probably looks like is we have the EZA and Super Battle Road on the 11th. And then that's pretty much all we're going to get for that week. You know, the Genius Bomber Battle Prep thing starts on the Monday or the Tuesday. And then the World Tournament starts on Friday, and then the World Tournament obviously finishes at the end of Sunday or like early morning Monday for me in the UK, which is the 21st. And so I could see it starting a couple of days after that, rather than being the 24th as like a dead set, or is it the 25th? It was the 25th on this last year, wasn't it? I've completely lost the right timeline page. There we go, the 25th, yeah. So the 25th this year is a Friday. So things have been coming out on Friday for the last few weeks. So this could actually be pretty accurate. So our two options are basically, Heroes is going to come out on the 18th, the same day as the World Tournament, which I think is unlikely. I don't actually know whether I would prefer that or not, because obviously I do like to go ham in the World Tournament, but if Heroes was coming out on the same day, I would obviously prioritise that stuff, right? Because that's, you know, the most hype thing coming up this year for me, or at least for the, you know, the rest of the, after the anniversary, Worldwide Celebration, and then Heroes. Those are like the three, for me, big celebrations. So I don't think it's going to start on the same day as the World Tournament, which means we probably are looking at the 25th. Now, it'd be nice if it did drop earlier in that week, because if we go back to, I'm just looking at my calendar here. So if we go back to 2021, the 25th was a Thursday. So obviously the banners don't have to drop on a Friday. So what would be ideal is if the World Tournament is actually going to end on like the Monday, we get all the rewards and stuff usually on the Tuesday or Wednesday morning, and then we should just have Heroes start straight away after that. But obviously, we shall have to wait and see. So, let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think it will be the 18th and start on the same day as the World Tournament? Or do you think it will be more around the 23rd to the 25th like last year? So, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Are you guys excited to summon? Who do you think the last couple of units need to be revealed will be? Obviously, as soon as that information comes out, I will keep you guys posted. And let me know if you are super hyped for Heroes this year. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.